Perspective. One of the most pain in the behind things I've ever had to learn. I suppose it does prove, however, to be one of the most important things I've ever learned. I also suppose that's why it's in a basics video. Anyways, here's a simple breakdown of the 3 perspective views, angles, points I think is the technical term, and a simple rule of perspective. Okay, let's start with the simple rule of perspective. When the thing you're drawing is further away from the camera, it will be smaller, and vice versa. This is demonstrated very notably in one-point perspective. As the name suggests, everything drawn on the page converges on one point. From that point horizontally is the horizon line, which is where the sky and land meet on an image. You know, like an actual horizon. With 2 and 3 point perspective, one of the main things to keep in mind is that the thing you're drawing will end up warping a bit. And this is true of most perspective drawing, and that's just due to the splitting of where everything converges. And it will look a bit off no matter what you do. The main reason is that you're changing the proportions of the thing you're drawing to match the perspective you're drawing from. On screen, you should be seeing me drawing the 2 and 3 point perspective, and hopefully I drew something interesting for you all to look at. While I'm doing that, I do want to make a point about how the 3 points of perspective are important to know, but if you've noticed throughout the video, I've only been drawing city scenes or buildings, and that's because creatures and people typically have dynamic perspective. Basically, it doesn't fall upon a grid. Dynamic perspective will get its own video when I cover drawing people in its own series, which will be soon-ish, as I have 1 or 2 more videos in this series to make before I feel like I covered everything that's needed for teaching drawing people. Other than that, there isn't much more for me to dive into at the moment. I'll probably come back to this in the future, but for now, have a good day, and one of these days, I'll get proper end card. But until then, have this melon I found on Google. Also, next up, shading and lighting.